The laptop doesn't have the correct font for the presentation, so some of the words are going to be out of place. So I apologize in advance for that. But welcome. We are the Post-Apocalypse Broadcasting Studio. And you're probably wondering, who the hell are these three idiots up here? I am Scribblesketch. I am the Public Relations Director, and I'm joined by...
Hey guys, I'm Frizzy, and I'm the voice acting co-director of P.A.B.S.
I'm Doug Sittich, and I'm the member of the 2D department of P.A.B.S.
You're probably thinking that the three of us can't make up an entire studio. And with that, you're right. P.A.B.S, we work with some of the best content creators in their respective fields throughout the community, being the musicians, animators, artists, all that good stuff. What does P.A.B.S do? We're a bit special in the sense that P.A.B.S, when we first formed, we were almost solely made of members from studios like Stable Tech Studios and Overmare. Since then, our roster has grown to encompass many individual and independent creators throughout the fandom. And together, we are all working on a project based on Fallout Equestria. How many people here know what Fallout Equestria is? It's safe to assume that you guys do. For those of you who don't, Fallout Equestria is a crossover between My Little Pony and the popular game Fallout. The fiction was wrote originally by K-Cat in 2011, and it revolves around a character who leaves her isolated home in search of her love interest. But enough about that for now. What we are doing, we are producing a individual project called Untold Stories of the Wasteland. Yes?
Fantastic idea.
Okay. I'm going to try and speak a little louder because I realize that I'm not really talking into the microphone very well. But yes, put it down. Be a good boy. We are making a show called Untold Stories of the Wasteland.
You want to know about the events that led me here?
Yes, you can call it a professional curiosity.
Another protest has been scheduled this morning requesting to expel all Zebracan students from local universities.
This is not a public place. This is a military camp on the edge of a war zone, and there are rules.
Anti-Zebra violence has seen a dramatic increase.
Why do you care about my story? Why don't you just make up your own devil?
Because wars don't have devils, just ponies and zebras.
Candlelight vigil being held in honor of the Wonderbolts, declared missing in action after it.
How dare you defy my orders? I should have you thrown in prison. I should have you shot.
With tensions rising between zebras and ponies, there has been a noted increase of ponies moving away from the border.
If we run this, the Ministry of Image will shut us down, and then they'll throw us in prison just for dessert.
They'll throw us away because we'll achieve the thing they're afraid of. We'll take away public support of the war.
I'm afraid we are at war.
Okay, every time I see that, it gives me goosebumps because I just get so excited. Now, you're probably all wondering, how does this all work? It can't be as easy as just slapping a few resources onto a screen. The process begins with dividing up the creators into respective departments to attribute their skills. Writing, 2D, animation, music, voice acting, post-production, and the likes. When brought together and organized by their team leaders who delegate for each department, the end product can be achieved with relative ease. Working together, all creators, no matter how different in talent, can combine the workflow to make a series a reality in a much shorter time span than we've seen other studios who are producing similar products achieve. But a little bit more about those departments. Here at P.A.B.S, we like to think of our departments as gears in a machine. When one turns, they all turn. When one stops turning, they all stop turning. These gears in the machine all play their vital roles in the functioning of this machine. When it works well. And of course, no project of this scope or magnitude can really be achieved without writing. And I jumped the gun there because I forgot to say, when we all work together, we produce content. Content comes from the machine. And to start this content, we look to the writing department.
Yeah, well, our first department, the writing department, is led by the talented writer James Vermont, who is assisted by Captain Horse. And writing is where the whole process starts. We can't tell a story without it having been written yet. So the writing department sets in motion what the rest of the studio contributes to. So they are like the foundation of our studio, which leads to our next department, the 2D department. Well, 2D is a critical and vital part of the process. It is led by the talented artist and seasoned animator Captain Horse. And it is here where our 2D members take the words from the writing department and begin to visualize them. So the 2D members create concepts, character concepts, locations, environmental concepts, and even cute puppies, yeah. Well, the concepts then go straight to the 3D department, and they use those to create 3D models. And since it is important that the 3D department gets a look from every possible angle of the character we send them out. So that's the reason why we do sometimes those 360 views of the character models. So you could say the 2D department, the job of the 2D department is to make the job of the 3D department a little bit easier. Yeah, just so now let's take a look at the members of the 2D department. First one we have, well, Dark Siddiq, that's me. I'm a hobby artist. I'm born in Germany. I have a love for video games, especially Fallout 3. It's one of my favorite Fallouts, even if it's not everyone's favorite Fallout, I know that. And of course Fallout Equestria, which is the reason why I ended up in this studio. Then we have James Cork. He is born in Spain, and he is a talented artist with a wide range of experience. He's working primarily with comics. He's also the mod and artist for the Ask Movie Slate blog. Not to mention, he also is the official artist for the Brony Scott conventions in Scotland.
We also think he has a table here.
Stall out there.
Yeah, he has a stall here as well.
Yeah.
So check him out.
At the moment, he's doing the draw commission. So if you're looking for something drawn quickly, he's the guy to go to. You can see it there.
Next we have Captain Horse. Some of you may know him from his animations like Spitfire's Day Off or When Can We See You Again, which was the promotional video for the BugCon convention in Manchester. Yeah, but he has even dabbled in running entertaining blogs such as Ask Firestarter Spitfire, and he has worked on many other projects in the past and has widely made a name for himself. Now, another very important part of the 2D department is cooperation. Cooperation is the key in 2D. Our artists, they also, well, they have their strengths, but they also have their weaknesses. So since we are a studio, we are a lot of people in this department, so the key is to work together oh shit, I just... Give me a second. For example, we have this line art here from our one of our past 2D members, Runa, and he often criticized himself for his coloring stuff, but his line work was pretty decent, if you ask me. So now, if you know James Cork, or if you're familiar with his work, you'll know that his color is breathtaking. So what happens when we combine those efforts of those two persons? As you can see, the result is pretty amazing. I might say so. So with a team like this, our goal is to achieve a near-perfect balance between the familiar atmosphere of My Little Pony and the gloomy, almost depressing tone of Fallout. So here are just some examples of our work.
Well, the next department on the list is VA, and when you've got as fantastic 2D artists as you've seen and so many diverse characters, when you're doing a project like this, you are going to need voices for them as well. Now here at P.A.B.S, we do like to give an opportunity to everyone, so amongst our ranks we do have seasoned professionals and veterans of voice acting, people that work in voice acting professionally, as well as giving people that apply who want their fresh start to try out. We welcome all types. If you've got a voice, then we will allow it. Now, we aren't all professional all the time. We might seem serious with the subject matter, but we do like to make mess-ups, and we do that quite a lot. And that's partly down to both me, myself, and Cider, as the two co-heads of the voice acting department. You've got us to blame for that. Now, we would like to bring you little parts of episode 1, but that would be whistleblowing. We can't do that just yet. So, rather than finished product, what we've got for you to show off our broad voice talents, we've got a selection of outtakes and bloopers. So, enjoy.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see Patreon. Wilhelm scream now.
How dare you defy my orders? I should have you shot in prison.
And that's it. Oh my god. And possibly others. Yep. And I am super excited to this.
No, I don't want to do that one. That didn't come out right.
How dare you sweaty...
Thanks for the chivalry. What? Thanks for the chivalry. Improv.
Nah.
Here to talk to you about the The broadcaster takes the... Oh, okay, that's...
Scots came back from the sex shop. There wasn't enough edible underwear left to eat.
And possibly others. That's it. No... You've done it again! I'm drunk and the script is double at the moment.
It's too dangerous here for civilians. Oh god, that was a bit high.
Please, baby. The Overmare said...
But before you go and check out our shiny new digs, let me tell you about some of the conventions we're hijacking. For sake, I wasn't meant to say hijacking.
They will regret... regret. It seems like rabbit season's everywhere.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout.
Bring me pictures of Spider-Man, damn it.
You can find it along the hallway down the... You can find it along the hallway alongside the... You can find it down the hallway to the... For fuck's sake, I just read out the director line. But as I'd like to announce the P.A.B.S Patreon page. It's a lot of P's. Voluntary or voluntary? Volatile. About some of the conventions we're hijacked. That's BrabsCon. Fuck's sake.
So yeah, as you can see, we're perfect. You know what parts of them are going to be in episode 1 and what aren't.
Yeah, when you work in something like this, getting the lines right can be stressful, so little incidents like that help relieve a lot of the stress, I'd say.
Pretty much.
That's back to me. And of course, the next step is animation, arguably one of the larger parts of the process. Excuse me, my breath went against me. Totally professional. Animation is a complicated department due purely to the different variants of what has to go through. It is currently led by Joystick and Carmos, both seasoned SFM animators, and the animation department, as you can see, is split into 3 major categories: modeling, animation, and mapping. It's extremely important to have experienced members at the helm for these, purely because of the high level of quality that this department tries to hold. It has a standard. And some of our more notable members within this department would be Fourth Aggie and Tonkano. You may or may not be familiar with them. And then there's animation with Jolly Old Cinema and Kelchan, who mainly take over most of the animations, and more specifically the lip syncing, which I've seen them try to do that, and it is not a pretty sight when something goes wrong. And of course there's mapping, which is pretty much led by Argo Damon. You are probably familiar with his stuff. And Jarvis Kaiser, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm awful with remembering his name. But what have they been up to? Other than that trailer you saw earlier, they've been really hard at work getting everything ready. You may have noticed in the trailer at the very end, it said coming this summer. That's because our animation department has been kicked into overdrive. We are in the last stretch for getting this done. Animation are this close to producing the finished product. And yeah. This is an example of their animation. I believe this is 2 minutes. It is our standards and methods have gone up since then.
Getting character. Is it on?
Yup, we are ready to roll.
Alright, good. Now, can I do the voice?
No.
Screw you. I'm the overmaris stallion, and I do what I want.
Did you just?
Look, screw you. This is what the script said. I'm just doing my job.
Fine. Let's just get this over with. I'm doing the movie adaptation of Derry Do later, and I really need to find a fridge she'll be able to fit in.
What? Why would... never mind.
Rolling!
Oh, Have you ever wondered what goes on outside the stable doors?
No!
You ever wonder why we're here?
Again?
We live in a world baptized by green fire, born from hatred and filled with ponies. There are more stories.
No, just do it the way I said to do it. God damn it, stick to the script, man.
No, you don't care about how it was done, but I do. We're here because so many stories, and it's important that we tell them. If you're passionate about telling the stories that made the world we're in, then contact us. If you're a writer, SFM animator, musician, artist, plumber, any of that good stuff, and you want to be part of this great anthology of fully animated Fallout Equestria stories, then join P.A.B.S. or P.A.B.S. They never really told me how to pronounce it.
That was a bit too dramatic.
Screw you, was that too dramatic, Mr. Bellfire Bombs can't melt lead fridge?
Oh, shut the hell up.
I forget the word now.
Animation?
No, the list, that was it. The list of roles he was giving out there isn't exactly words, I forget how to use them. It isn't an exaggeration. We really do need a plumber for the offices. One of my favorite things about that is the subtle little twitch on the nose. It's little details like that that give animations like this quality and depth. And of course, this brings us to our next department, music.
Yeah, we do like to use music. That's become quite apparent. Now, we do have an absolutely fantastic music team on board with us, led by the wonderful Serrated Skies. Now, apart from voice acting, one thing that can give a lot of emotional depth to any scene given is music. And I can go on talking about it for as long as I was blue in the face, but the best way to feel is to hear it. And so, once again, what we've got for you is actually a selection of music that's been produced purely for P.A.B.S. to use within the project by our own team. Have a listen.
the process would usually proceed on with all the major core components done. It is passed along to post-production or post-effects.
Well, for post-effects, the head of the post-effects department is Knightley, who was a former member of State Tech Studios. Post-effects are the guys who make up the last line in production. They clean up the what animation delivers. Even all of the videos you've seen in this presentation were made by post-productions, or they at least had a large hand in making them. But there's only so much we can say about post-effects, so we want to show you 2 videos. One video is without post-effects, and the other one is with post-effects.
One of 6 things are about to happen. The consequences will be felt far and wide as they ripple through the wasteland. Consequences that will be decided by none. This wasteland provides fertile ground for the propagation of these consequences. Infinite names and infinite possibilities. As some would say, this wasteland is in chaos.
As you can see, the difference in animation with and without post-effects is quite drastic. Using things like Adobe Editor, they're able to pretty much make anything look very snazzy with some special effects. But alas, that is the end of the interesting parts, and now for the boring parts. Public relations. Yay, my stuff. Public relations is led by myself, and my team and I work quite hard at what we do. We liaise with conventions to organize appearances such as this one. I believe we were here last year as well as places like P.A.B.S, both this year and previous year. Brony Scott last year as well. We were even at Ponyville Cider Fest last year in the States, and I believe we might have a few more stateside appearances before the year is out. But you might have heard mentioned earlier on in some of the bloopers about Patreon.
Oh, hello there! I didn't quite see you. I'm the broadcaster, and I'm here to talk to you about the Post-Apocalypse Broadcasting Studio. We've been hard at work on the first episode of our series, Untold Stories of the Wasteland, and we're really excited to get it out there. But, as I'd hope you understand, making this show is hard work. Which is why I'm here to announce the P.A.B.S Patreon page. Now, Patreon is a voluntary subscription service where you can directly support the studio. The series remains free for everyone, while supporters get access to rewards like special mentions in the credits, early releases, exclusive content like concept art, deleted scenes. The money goes into the studio budget, which will be used to pay for convention appearances, software licenses, rainy day funds, and other general stuff. And apparently our staff might actually like to get paid eventually.
We're going to start thinking that he's the only person who does any voice work for us. Oh, my apologies. But yes, recently we launched our Patreon, and that animation you saw was done by Captain Horse. It's quite lovely animation. I love his cellless work. But yeah, you can visit us at patreon.com/P.A.B.S project if you'd like to give it a gander and see what we have to offer. So yeah, along with organizing convention appearances and working with quality assurance, public relations are the people who evaluate everything that comes out of the entire process to make sure it's fit for public consumption. It's our job to make sure that the content that comes to you, the viewers, is of the utmost quality. And we pride ourselves with what's coming because we feel that we haven't done our job, that the best work that our studio could possibly give is coming to you guys. In addition to this, we also manage our social media accounts, be it YouTube, Twitter, which isn't there at the moment, Facebook, and Patreon. Also, we have a website which is under construction. You can, when it's finished, you will be able to visit there, look at staff bios to get to see who the team are building this project, along with ways to contact us for any queries, concerns, or comments about it, and even a blog with regular development updates so you guys can see how far along in the process we are of each particular stage. And that pretty much sums up public relations duties. But of course, a studio of our size wouldn't be complete if it didn't have human resources. Human resources are incredibly important for any studio, any business really. Anyone who's ever had a job can tell you human resources are, they're not usually the most liked people in a department or in a business, but they are nonetheless necessary to the lifeblood of it. They also have a role with our website. I said that in the website you can meet the team. Part of that team could include anyone here. Our website is currently up through whatever technical sorcery. It's still unfinished, but the apply button, as it's pointed out there, is functional. Through that, you can apply to join our teams. You will be shown this application. It will ask you to identify what departments you would like to join. And if there is a particular department that is currently not accepting any more candidates, it is updated to show what departments are currently full. At the moment, I think it's writing that is currently full, because we have quite a few very skilled writers and they're working very closely, but everything else is pretty much fair game. There's also a section that allows you to tell us a bit about yourself, how you feel you're qualified to join us, your past experiences, what makes you stand out, what makes you special. Definitely not a Fallout reference. But yeah, that is pretty much how the studio functions. As I said at the start of this segment, when the cogs in this machine turn, content is produced. But I think you've heard enough babbling of the technical sides of things. Why don't we show you a bit about that content, eh? Episode 1 is coming soon. Sooner than some of you might realize. It has a unique aspect by the fact that it is not entirely a work of fiction. Episode 1, Wheelie Bag in a War Zone, is based off the real events that happened to a wartime photographer by the name of Shane Robinson. We reached out to Mr. Robinson and asked him if he could talk to us for a while, explain some of his extraordinary situations that he was in. There's even one instance where he clashed with police in some South African city. I can't remember exactly which. He's had so many amazing stories to tell us that it's impossible to keep track. But yes, episode 1 is based on the true events that have happened. The interview we had with Mr. Robinson. Why isn't this recorded? That could have gone on the bloopers. Yeah, with Mr. Robinson is available on our YouTube and Patreon, or will be shortly. But you probably heard enough of me yapping about episode 1. How about we hear something from the people who worked on it?
Working on episode 1 was fun. Watching it develop from an idea on paper to a blocked out 3D animatic. Blocking out a scene was a little tough, but we all managed to get out something that looked good in the end. I spent most of my time doing the first and second pass of a couple of blocked out scenes, smoothing out the blocked out animation. I've been with a few group projects in the past, and most of them have trashed and burned because it lacked organization, motivation, or enough people working in different areas. But P.A.B.S, they are well organized with a large, diverse team working on every aspect of the project to bring out the best of everyone's abilities. Our fortnightly meetings keep everyone up to date with what's going on, and no one is left in the dark about anything. It's a little hard for me because of time zones with me being down under. Meetings take place when I just wake up. Sometimes I even miss them. But I can still ask about what I missed with some of my friends that I made in the group. And they're always there to help. Everyone is really nice and it's a great work environment. Even through the worst of times, we stick together and look out for each other. And that's just great. I love working for P.A.B.S. So, cheers for episode 1. Hope it does really well. And I'm so excited for episode 2. We're finally going to get a new model with a rig to work with, and oh my god, I'm so excited! I mean, I suppose you could cut out that last part if you don't want that being revealed yet.
Huh. How did it feel working on episode 1, eh? Well, to be honest, it was a lot of fun, actually. It's quite challenging to be, working on a full-fledged episode, knowing that it's going to be an episodic series, is definitely a much more interesting experience to just doing solo work and working as a solo animator, freelance and all. It's certainly, you've got a sense of organization to it, and it really gives you good experience working in studios. Now, it's just been something beneficial to me since I plan to go into the media work, but it's just been really a fun and interesting experience. It's been challenging, and it's had its moments where I've had to work on things and I've had to get things done quick, and it just takes practice, and it gives you the practice of what the real world of work is like in the media industry when it comes to animation. So, it's been extremely beneficial to me personally. How did I feel about as one of the animators working on this? To be quite honest, it was an honor. It's really fun being an animator in such a big, broad project. From what I can tell and everything I've read that's been going on so far, the whole episode is just going absolutely brilliant. And it's a really cool feeling to be a part of this and working on this kind of project for P.A.B.S. Itself. It's just a lot of fun, and it's really interesting to meet lots and lots of different people in the world of animation and to be able to communicate with them and work with them on a personal level in a studio environment. So honestly, overall, I'm really enjoying my time at P.A.B.S. It's been a lot of fun working here.
So, working on episode 1, well, I have to say, it has been awesome, really. Because when I started in P.A.B.S, I didn't know how to do anything at all, unless if I might just got a PC good enough to run it like 2 weeks before I got accepted. I sent an application never expecting to be accepted in the team, and yeah, it has been an awesome experience. I have learned so much since I started. I'm pretty good compared to when I just got into the project. I learned so much stuff, and generally, it has been a really amazing experience. I love the project, I love working on it, I love the things I do. Make scene buildings, it's quite funny when you get used to it. I just love the things I do.
All that praise definitely was not said under duress. But as you heard Carl, the first voice there, he is living down in Australia. So you can imagine that liaising with a studio that is spread across the world can be challenging. Did you have something you want to add?
Well, I was just going to say, the perk of having a studio that has people in America, the UK, and Australia means that if we have multiple people in departments, they can never stop working. One person goes to sleep, the others are just waking up. It continues the cycle. It's wonderful.
But yeah, we have a very diverse team, and it's been an honor and a privilege to get to know them, to get to work with them. You don't just feel like you're part of a team with them. It really feels like you're part of something bigger than yourself. It's amazing. And I've met some of my closest friends working with them. I met this big lug before that, but it just so happened we both ended up sending in an application. But without further ado, I think it's about time we kick off the Q&A session. Does anyone have any questions, queries, concerns about it? Yourself?
What's your so what software and stuff, like what's your technology? Are you using Maya or Blender or Source Filmmaker or and so on?
That's actually a tricky question to answer while also being quite simple. We tend to use a combination of both Maya, but primarily Blender to make our models. But a lot of work has to be done in Maya for simply the models that can't be done in Blender, like the smaller objects, whilst Blender is used to make the pony models. And you might have actually heard we might have a new model soon. Something I can't say too much, NDA, I could get fired, but it will astound people when it comes out, and I really am excited to see what episode 2 brings with that new model. That was done in Blender, but everything after the fact, everything's made outside of Source Filmmaker and then brought into Source Filmmaker to put the animations together to get it all moving. Does that answer your question, or?
What did you choose to animate in Source Filmmaker?
Purely because we looked at the field and no other studio was doing a 3D animated telling of anything really, let alone Fallout Equestria. There have been other studios that have cropped up doing something in 3D with Source Filmmaker, but they've all been almost small solo projects or a duo working together. Nothing on such a large scale as what we have the ambition to do.
If this is recorded, so the question was why animate? Why are they animating in Source Filmmaker rather than something else?
Oh, sorry.
No, he only said that again because he didn't have to say on the microphone when it was recording. He did it for the
recording
process.
Sorry, I thought
I'm not asking you again, you didn't answer it wrong.
Good, because our animators would be quite angry at me if I messed up a question directed for them.
Any other questions?
Any other questions on anything? We could really use the plumbers. Yourself?
The gentleman over there.
I
can use my pointy stick.
Here.
Yes, yeah, here. No, that's it. Just for interest, how many people are after all are in this project now? As a P.A.B.S, how many people are in there now?
How many staff we have? That fluctuates. Quite a lot, really. Too many to really keep track of. That's what our human resources department do. Last I checked, we tallied at over 76 members altogether working on this project. It's a lot of people. But that's for the departments. They're separated, so the teams are small enough. But together, there's well over 70 people currently working for P.A.B.S. Anything else? Any questions for Fizzy or Sidic? Yes, you?
Yes.
Is it a real work or a hobby?
That's another very excellent question. It's both for a lot of people. For some of us, it's a hobby. For a lot of us, it's a task we are hoping to turn into a career. Maybe not with P.A.B.S, some of us with P.A.B.S turning into a career. It's a labor of love. We love what we do, so if it's a hobby or if it is a full-time career, it doesn't really affect how we work because we all love what we're doing. Some of us are, it's a hobby for some of us, And those of us who want to make it a career are 100% dedicated. There are people even investing money in the studio out of their own pockets to make this a full-fledged career for them. I know one of our animators is using P.A.B.S as a stepping stone into Disney, I believe. I think he's up there last week.
Okay. Although we are saying that it is a good way to get a stepping stone into a full-fledged career, and yes, as the Patreon teaser or advertisement or whatever you want to call it did say, that eventually some of the staff would like to get paid for the efforts, most people are using it, as my co-host said, a labor of love. It is a fan project, but it does put something down on a resume. But even if you are only looking to do it as a hobby, don't let that dissuade you, because we accept people of all levels of ability and skill in whatever field they want to enter in.
Yeah, what Frizzy said is very important to note. Originally, everyone who has signed up with P.A.B.S and currently is signing up with P.A.B.S, they're all volunteers. They've all taken the time out of their lives to volunteer to this project, and we are immensely thankful to all of them for that. Anything else?
Hand over there somewhere?
Yeah. Okay, so what kind of budget are you operating on, and how much of that comes from Patreon? And perhaps what do you do with your budget exactly?
Yes, what is that Patreon budget at the moment?
Our Patreon budget at the moment is a whopping amazing, last time I checked, $1. Yeah, there's no room for improvements. So yeah, well, it's not much. It's that when we saw that $1 tick up, it was a proud moment for us, because we thought, hey, one person out there actually really likes what we do, and it was amazing.
And then it turned out it was the actual owner of the studio. But no, when it comes to talking about a budget, really it coincides with the last question. As it's a labor of love, there are certain standards that we have for entry. Mainly, when it comes to VA, from my experience, there is a certain standard of equipment you need to be able to, because of the project we want to give, we expect there to be a base level of a microphone level. So what you want to give to P.A.B.S is of your own volition. If you want to join and you have a skill, then what you put into it of your own volition is what the budget is, until we can then make this more than a fan project and evolve it into something where we can actually take money and then give back.
There have been cases of members of this project using what they learned there in their own like similar projects outside of P.A.B.S.
Yeah, people have been using a lot of what they've learned outside of P.A.B.S. Some people are using what they're learning to launch proper careers of their own, like that person I mentioned earlier, who went for an interview at Disney.
Well, I mean, like, are there like so similar offshoots like these kind of projects that have started from P.A.B.S?
Oh, are we working on other things? Is that what you're saying?
Sort of.
Well, currently all our attention is focused on untold stories at the moment. So no one's currently using what they're learning to do anything else under P.A.B.S.
Also, to add to that, building upon what we've said, we're putting all of our effort into episode 1 at the moment, so everybody's working on that. However, without spoiling anything, because once again, NDA, and I might get fired, depending if I say the wrong thing, there are small offshoot projects in the works. We've got ideas for them that may come to fruition. We can't say what they are, but aside from the main episodic stories of the Wasteland, there are going to be smaller bits that go with it to broaden the picture and create context and larger world building.
So a question from me. What is your most required or most needed kind of position at the moment? So you brought up an application form there and all the different departments that you got listed. Which ones are you currently most searching for?
Yeah. Usually for animators, animators are always needed. So that is usually our highest priority. If we can get as many of them in as we can, if they can work good, that's usually our highest demand. If they can lip sync, that's also a bonus, because we only have 3 or 4 people on staff at the moment who have the acceptable skill level to do that perfectly. Other than that, I would say female voice actors. There are scarce few of them. Beyond that, storyboard artists, I believe, would be the third, and it's pretty much scarced out amongst the remaining roles from there. Although yes, we do still need plumbers. That is my priority. I am determined to get a plumber.
It's me, Mario.
So the first episode you're using the whatever current model, and then there's the new model. Which model is the current model, or like is it one of the source filmmaker models available publicly, or is it a modified one, or is it one's created from scratch, and the same questions about the new model, if you can answer.
The old model, I'm not too familiar on. That's a question that one of our animators could better answer. They try explaining this stuff to me before I come to these conventions, and it always just flies over my head. Some of them are the default ones you can find. A lot of them are custom made.
I mean for the ponies specifically.
Yes, yes, for the ponies. A lot of the models have to be custom made, rigged by themselves. In relation to the new model, I'm afraid I have to be tight-lipped on that. NDA forbids me from speaking about it. You know how it is. But the old models, a lot of them are what is publicly available.
So they're based on, like, ultimately the Shadow Squirrel KP's original source filmmaker model.
I'm not too familiar with that.
Shadow Squirrel KP created the model, then Naka improved it, and then some other people have made further improvements.
I believe so. It's, as you said, it's something that's constantly being improved upon by whoever, or by each person that contributes to it. So I believe, it was, it did come from them. But
any plans to release the old model?
Like I said, a lot of the old models are publicly available, except for a few of the unique ones that you will see in episode 1. Beyond releasing them publicly, I am not quite sure yet. I'd have to double check with our animators if they have intentions to do that, because, excuse me, at the end of the day, the work they do for P.A.B.S. is P.A.B.S.'s property due to their contracts, but it is also theirs as the content creators. Usually any decision revolving releasing assets has to usually go through a director, through public relations, the content's original creator, and their team leader. So of that, I am unsure if they are. Oh, Gesundheit. Anyone else? No? Okay. So, thank you very much for putting up with our nervous wreck. I apologize for the font. So yeah, thank you for sticking around. Those of you who have, there are bottle caps up here. P.A.B.S. branded bottle caps that are free. Help yourselves to them.